Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hope you are all ready for today's session.
You do. I'm attending.
For the YouTube people here, it's not ma'am, it's a different person today. Okay, so yeah, I think more people are here. Yeah, so it will be evening for our 1000 midnight children revision sessions. Okay, so today we have to deal with some of the units in paper one actually. So in paper one, I think you have got some sessions from other teachers as well regarding the mathematical reasoning and everything. So today we will be dealing with some of the theoretical aspects. As you know, we have about 6 units of theory that we need to deal with. Not six actually, close to 7 or 8 things that we need to deal with. So some of the questions from all those units that we will be covering. Okay, so as you know, you might get some sessions on teaching, research, and even higher education from other teachers. Today we will be dealing with units like Unit 4, communication. Then some portions from Unit 6, that's particularly from Indian logics. Then certain questions from ICT, that is Unit 8, that's our Unit 8. And we have a few questions from Unit 9, environment. Okay, so these are the topics that we are going to deal with today. Okay, so once again, welcome to our session, everyone, on Zoom as well as on YouTube. So I can see both of you. Okay, I have both these videos on either slides. So our Zoom participation has actually crossed 40, and I think YouTube, more people are watching. 41 people are already watching. So that's a decent number. Okay. So I think it's time for us to start with some of the questions. So first of all, we need to deal with Unit 4, communication. Okay. So in communication, as you know, we have a lot of focus areas, right? From elements of communication to mass media and society. So let me ask my comprehensive students already. So who are on the YouTube too can respond. What are the elements in communication? What are the four elements in communication? Do you know? What are the four elements in communication? In a communication process, we have particularly four elements, which we have dealt in theoretical ways as well. So what are the four elements in communication? All of you can answer. Yes. We have the first element, that is the center. Then we have the message. Then we have the medium. Okay, that is the message is being transmitted through the medium. And finally, we have the receiver. Okay, so that's what our elements take place. Then we have the different types of communication. We have particularly classroom communication, which you need to focus upon because these questions from classroom communication can come for either from unit 1 as well as from unit 4. Okay, because in unit 1 we have teaching aptitude, there also classroom communication is important. So from both perspectives you can receive questions from classroom communication. Okay, so yes, as you know, I am so happy that you have responded the elements of communication correctly. So center, message, medium, receiver. Okay, so I think you are ready for one of the questions, not from this particular focus area alone, but as you know, we have other focus areas like types of communication, context classification, barriers in communication, mass media, lot of focus areas, including classroom communication we have. So let me give you one question from one of these areas. This is a type. This is from types of communication. We are starting with something very simple because the YouTube videos are also here. So the YouTube children, as you know, they might not be getting regular classes like you. So for the ease of their convenience as well, we have added a simple question. So this question is asked in various forms, in various ways, jumbled, okay, in various exams. Okay, I have referred various set exams, even UGC net exams, SSC exams, uh, General Insurance Corporation exams as well. Many state exams to have asked this question. Okay, so the means of grapevine communication. Okay, so what is grapevine communication? If you know, that is another term for which kind of communication? So which kind of communication that we refer as gateway communication? Obviously, it is another term for informal communication. Okay, so informal communication is also otherwise called as gateway communication, and we look at the options, and we have the option two that says informal communication. So means of gateway communication are informal. Okay, so why we call gateway communication as informal communication? Because it is intertwined like a grapevine. Okay, we tell one gossip to your friend, so that friend will tell that to 10 other people. From 10 other people to 20 other people, it goes. So it is completely intertwined like a grapevine. Okay, so that's why we call um, informal communication as grapevine communication. Okay, so I hope both the batches got this. Yeah, the YouTube sessions are also YouTube responses are also good. Okay, I think no doubts from this question. So we are moving on to the next question. So next question is telephone communication. This is an example of what kind of communication is that a linear communication or a non-linear communication or a circular communication or a mechanized communication? It is telephone conversation. This question was asked, I think, in one MP set or something. Um, the Pradesh set or something that this question was asked, and they had their own explanation for the same as well. Okay, so as I have a tough time of muting everyone because I mute, more people join, they are on mute. So, yeah. So the responses from YouTube Live is very, very meek. Okay, so I need the YouTube people to respond. Okay, this is like a free hit for everyone. Don't hesitate to respond. Don't worry even if you get your answers wrong. Okay, this is a learning process only. Okay. So some of you have said option one, some of you said option four, some of you said option two as well. So multiple options, some option three responses are also here on both screens. So let me say, first of all, let's deal with the answer and I will discuss the explanation. Okay, so telephone conversation as per the ones who declared this question, it is a linear communication. Okay, so why it is a linear communication? What is a linear communication? I think um, you have studied about linear models of communication, right? So when we are discussing models of communication in our comprehensive batch, okay, so the comprehensive batch of students might know what is linear communication. Okay, so there are different types of different models in communication. We have the linear model, we have the interactive and transactional models. So in linear communication model, we have other subdivisions, right from the mathematical model, Aristotelian model, such kind of models are there. So in that model, as you know, what linear communication means, it's a one-way mode of communication. So telephone conversation, according to the people who did the question, they feel it's linear model. So definitely, we all get confused why it is called a linear model. So, in linear model, as we know, there are different subdivisions. Okay, so we have this Maxwell's model, we have the Aristotelian model, we have the Shannon-Weaver model. Okay, so different kinds of models of communications are there. So, in as per in Shannon-Weaver model or SMCR model and all, you know, there is a sender who delivers a piece of information to the receiver's end. So the even if the receiver has heard all these things, even the responses they try to make are completely based on the kind of message conveyed by the sender. Okay, so the conversation is entirely controlled by the encoder or the sender. Okay, so even in professional communications over telephone as well. Imagine you are getting a call from the customer care, of course. Okay, so in that cases and all, we have the linear model of communication happening. Circular communication is like we switch roles all the time, but there we to have some kind of contribution to make. But most of the cases, the telephone conversation is like one way. Okay, so it is always determined by the one who actually made the call. So that was the explanation that they have given for this question when I referred detailed about this. Okay. So that's how the answer came. Okay. You can double check in Google as well. Google also gives this kind of an explanation. Okay. Telephone conversation is an example of it. Linear communication. Okay. So this is the answer. Now we are moving on to the next question. A question from classroom communication. I told you. So this area is something that you can expect. Okay, very important area. Okay, so it's a very important area. Yes, I can see your explanations in YouTube as well, Ruba Chaudhary, in conference calls and all. We know, but ultimately there will be a center of a central message that they all need to convey. That may be the explanation that they have found. Okay, so that may be okay. Now moving on to the next question. Successful communication in classroom teaching is what kind of communication? What kind of communication that you should make in order to have a really successful communication, getting engaged in a classroom conversation. So in a classroom, you're teaching your students. So what kind of communication need to be initiated? Is that a circular communication where you turn around in loops? Is that a reciprocal communication? Or is that a directional communication where you decide the direction, or you should make an influential communication? So, which is the answer that you should make? So, I'm getting enough responses in both the screens. Some of you say circular communication, some of you say reciprocal communication. Um, some of them are confused between 3, 4, or 1 and 4 with question marks. I can see responses here. So, as you know, some are too damn sure that it's B. Very good. So now let's check these options. Okay. What if the communication in the classroom goes circular? Turn around in loops around the same topics. Okay, we are just hobbling around. Okay, sender sending something, receiver doing it, and we are just circulating around the same topic. It's chaotic. Very good. So it will look, that's sure. It will be chaotic. So circular, we can omit. Directional means one direction maybe. Will that ever be effective? No. uh, Communication can never be effective in a directional communication. Imagine if I am not at all bothered about your responses. I'm just coming here, giving some questions, and I'm just scrolling through. I'm not at all bothered about your responses. Or if I'm just not giving you questions at all, I'm just explaining all these things in the revision class. You don't feel anything connected. Okay, you don't even feel attention. So that is not a successful communication at all. The question is about successful communication. So we should have, yes, definitely we should have interchange of thoughts between students and teachers. So students should reciprocate. Whenever I ask questions, you should respond. That is what we call as reciprocation. Okay, so that is the most accurate answer here. That happens to be the right answer. Okay, very good. So whoever that made this response, very good. Don't worry, others. You have more questions from classroom communication. Here we go with the next question. Okay, yeah. Yes, definitely, Aishwarya. We have both two employees. Communication is directional. That vertical direction. I'm so happy that you people remember vertical communication in that sense. Now, the communicated knowledge in a classroom is considered as what? The communicated knowledge in a classroom is considered as, is that a non-pervasive treasure? Is that a limited judgment? Is that an autonomous virtue? Or is that a cultural capital? This was also from MP set, I think, one of the state level exams that they have asked this question. I have taken that entire question paper. So the communicated knowledge in a classroom is considered as what? Yeah, you need to be empathetic, Rajesh. It's more than that. Is that non-pervasive? Is that limited judgment? Is that autonomous virtue? Or is that cultural capital? It's not two and four, so it's one. Some say option one to all four options that I got as responses. Some say option one, some say option two, some say option three, and even four. Okay, yeah. So it's time for us to reveal the answer. I hope you are ready. So get ready. Here comes the answer. Yeah, you will all be surprised because the answer was option four. As you know, cultural capital means it's an amalgam of a lot of things. Okay, how we are developed or our kind of upbringing. I think I have an explanation for this question. Yeah, definitely. Here it is. You see, the definition for cultural capital. I know you will be surprised. That's why I have added the explanation here. Okay, so cultural capital refers to the non-financial social assets, right? Like how we interact with the society. Okay, so beyond economic means we get a lot of things from the society. Okay, so how education influences that develops our intellect, our style of speech, okay, our appearance, everything. So in a classroom communication, so especially from classrooms, our this kind of a cultural capital. So our influences develop from a classroom environment. Okay, so teacher contributes some kind of a cultural capital to the students. Okay, so that's how they interact with different kinds of social context. Okay, that kind of upbringing. This is what cultural capital means. Of course, we need autonomous virtues, but more accurate answer for this question. Okay, of course, we need empathy. That's how many of you have selected autonomous virtue. I can understand, but more than autonomous virtue, okay, that is person centered. Okay, that depends on from person to person. But more than autonomous virtue, an overall development, okay, that is made. Okay, so the question is about the communicated knowledge in a classroom communication. Okay, so it's not empathy alone that is communicated. More than empathy, lot of other factors do come into play. Okay, so that's how cultural capital becomes the answer. Okay, non-pervasive structure is like an amalgam of lot of words, not accurately. No, there is no such amalgam of words. Okay, it's like combination of different words. Okay, so so you won't get exams. You won't get this kind of explanation in exams. Okay, so that's your duty alone sometimes. So limited judgment, you can never predict a limited judgment in a classroom, but cultural capital is assured. Okay, so that's how it became the answer. Okay, I hope all these people has got the answers right. So the 55 people in the live chat and how, yeah, almost 50 people in the Zoom as well. I think this makes sense for you at this moment. Okay, so now comes the next question again from classroom communication. This is a very important area. That's why I had all three questions from classroom communication. Okay, so for both all the people who has missed last two questions for classroom communication, again you got a chance here. At least you can try this. I think this question will be easy for you. Classroom communication is normally considered as what? Is that effective? Is that effective? Is that cognitive? Or is that non-selective? I think our daily batch students, okay, our comprehensive batch students can answer this because this might be something that you might have heard multiple times in our classes. So, how does that come? Okay, select the most accurate option. Many of you say option one. Many of you say option three and option four even. Okay, so maybe less number of people say option two. Okay, the majority option is one, and some are confused about three. And for those confused people, I say it's three that is the answer. Okay, why? Because it is about transmission and reception of knowledge. Okay, so the question is about how a classroom communication will be, the nature of classroom communication. Okay, so um, what? how does a classroom communication should be? Okay, the classroom communication is normally considered should be the nature of classroom communication is that something that is being asked here. Okay, so it's not that kind of non-selective because selection and all that should never define a classroom communication. That partiality and everything should never define the nature of a proper classroom communication. Okay, and it can be effective, but that depends. That is a quality that we all develop in a classroom communication. Okay, that defines the quality, not the nature of classroom communication. Okay, I know many of you intended to say that classroom communication should be effective. Okay, so uh, something that we insist regarding the quality of classroom communication. But the question is about the nature of classroom communication. How a normal classroom communication happens. Okay, it's like a cognitive what's a function that it serves, like thinking. Okay, we are making students think. Okay, we make them understand our points. Okay, all these things, learning process, remembering things, all these processes happen in a classroom communication. That's why we say it as a cognitive development. Okay, so classroom communication is a cognitive process. Okay, so I know many of you are right. Congratulations. Okay, I think these questions are communicating with you well. Okay, so we are dealing with communication. So I hope communication is also going well in this classroom as well. And we are moving on to the next question. Okay, we have moved from classroom communication to mass communication, which is another focus area in this unit. So the information function of mass communication can be defined as what? I think my comprehensive students know the answer of this question because I have discussed this question in the class. I think I have discussed because I remember talking about this question and many of you made some different options and some of you were confused about the options. I remember that phenomena and I had the explanation for that as well. So this was a question that we have discussed in our regular class, and I have seen this very same question in two question papers in different exams. Okay, that's why I have included this. Okay, one of the UGC NET exams as well as one of the SET exams, state level eligibility test exams by some of the states. I have seen this question. Okay, so the information function of mass communication. Okay, so what is mass communication? What is mass communication? Many of you know. Mass communication means we are addressing something to a large mass of audience, but they are not physically present in front of the speaker. That's the difference between mass communication and public communication. Public communication is like a political speech or a rally where a politician or a musician, okay, interacts with a large mass of audience who are physically present in front of him. Okay, but mass communication means there also a lot of people are hearing the person who speaks, but those people are not physically present in front of the speaker. Okay, so what is the intention of mass communication or why people rely on mass communication? Okay, or the kind of information that mass communication circulates, what is the real intention behind that? Why we rely on it? Actually, the kind of function it serves is surveillance. Okay, so how do surveillance come? I know you are confused about this thing, but that is the answer. Because society is dependent on mass communication to know about what's going on and what's going on around their lives through news channels and internet. So our own intention for surveillance is something that happens. Okay. So the information that is circulated via mass communication actually satisfies our intention for surveillance. Okay, that is the explanation that is being given by all the people for this particular kind of question. I have double checked this. So I think you need better explanation for this. That's why I have verified in from multiple sources, and everybody had the very same opinion. Okay, so yeah. These answers are actually from yeah, various sources. I have checked the answer key as well. Of course, in answer key, challenging and options are there. That's why I have checked with multiple sources. When model test, those websites that circulate model test as well have added this question there, and they have also included from which exam this question has been taken. So in multiple exams, this is the very same answer that they have given. Okay, so it is our surveillance, craving for surveillance is something that this information satisfies from mass communication. That is the explanation. Okay, so that is the answer. Okay, so yeah, definitely we know what mass communication means, and that's how it satisfies us. Okay, don't worry, even if you got things wrong. Okay, we have one more question from this area. So, referential framing used by TV audience. Okay, connects media with what? Okay, so people are watching TV. Okay, so from television, we are getting a lot of information. So, what they refer to, referential framing. Okay, so is that reality, falsity, negativity, or passivity? Framing means construction, something. Okay, so television. So, definitely, students of English literature will remember whom? Baudrillard, right? So, what Baudrillard has said? Baudrillard, the Gulf War didn't happen. It was a creation by the television. Such kind of things. If you complicate with things, yeah, I will try to complicate. Okay, I will try to complicate because I want you to land in wrong answers. Then only I can explain. I'm so happy that you are falling into my prey because many of you have already said the right answer at first place. Now we are correcting it. Okay, actually, the answer, okay, so the answer is actually one. Many of you have, yeah, many of you have selected option one in the beginning. And when I said about Bodhilla, you just modified your answer to two. Actually, television constructs hyper reality. That's something Bodhilla has said. Do you remember? Baudrillard has said television constructs hyper reality. If you remember that particular thing, you would have answered this. Okay, so that's something that you can look at because that area from cultural studies also, many of the things from cultural studies will be useful for you in paper one as well. Okay, so here you can say that referential framing. What is referential framing? That means linking media content with real world context. Okay, and we understand it as our representation of reality. Okay, so whatever content that we are watching in TV or even on smartphone, we have YouTube 25 years 4 by 7 these days, right? So we connect this media content with our perception of reality. Okay, so our perception of reality, that's something that we interpret from all these contents. Okay, so that is something that this question is all about. Okay, so you can relate this. Okay, what is our interest? Okay, so whatever we watch on TV, we feel that that is the original. Okay, that's how society is being constructed. Okay, so based on our perception of reality, the whole content is being delivered, framed. Okay, that's how this answer came. Okay, so yeah, I think you got this right. And I think it's time for us to move on to the next question. Let me see whether it's from this particular unit or we are moving to a next unit because it's already like we have started a while ago, like close to 30 minutes that we have started. And we need to cover other units as well. So I might be switching units. No, but you are, I think for a solace that you have one more question. Okay, the automatic process of catching or sharing another's emotions by mimicking that person's facial expressions and non-verbal behavior. You are lucky that you got more questions from Unit 4. I think even if you are just confused by the question, you can immediately land into the answer. Such kind of questions too, you can expect at times from NTA because, like a healer, even if you don't know the answer from certain keywords, you can land into the answer. What is it? Yeah, the no, no, don't wait for the explanation to answer. Come on, answer now. This is a very simple question. Okay, it's a very simple question. So, you are talking with a person. Okay, you are observing that person, particular person. So, in order to have an emotional connect, sometimes we will unconsciously mimic that person's dialect even. I can totally relate because I hail from Kerala. So in Kerala, we have different kinds of dialect in all 14 districts. And I am a person who travels like four districts at once. Trivandrum, I say Kollam, and occasionally I go to Ernakulam and Thrissur. So almost four districts that I cover. So I have a mixed dialect in myself. So a mixed dialect that I already have in my tongue. So when you talk to people from a different district, naturally that kind of dialect comes to our mind. Okay, or their expressions, we try to come in terms with their emotions. This phenomena is called as what? Yes, emotional contagion. Okay, so this is called emotional contagion. So it's a process of catching another's emotions by mimicking their facial expression, their body language, their tone. Okay, this is what we call as emotional contagion. Okay, so unconsciously, even if we are not aware about it, our behaviors and emotions sometimes get influenced by the person right in front of us. Okay, this is what we call by the term emotional contagion. Okay, so that is also a previous question actually from one of the examinations. So I hope you got this answer right. Even if you didn't understand completely the question with certain keywords, you already got the answer. And with the explanation, I think you can relate this. Okay, I think the answer is being explained well here. Okay, so this is the explanation for this question, emotional contagion. Okay, so we are moving on to the next question that is from ICT. So we have been talking about Unit 4 actually. Okay, so far we have been talking about Unit 4, that is communication. Actually, in chronological order, we are supposed to move on to Unit 6, but I don't want to disappoint you with certain tough things right at this very first moment itself. That's why I have immediately jumped on to Unit 8, which is ICT, where you can get some simple questions. So, here's a simple question for you. Internet ethical protocol is called as what? Is that a net protocol? Is that a net etiquette? Is that net ethics? Is that net morality? This was asked in MB set. And I think my regular students know the answer. Yeah, in the YouTube session as well, many of you are answering it right. I thought you will get confused with this question. That's why the options are tampered in that way. But I'm so happy that you're answering it right. So the network etiquettes, we call it. Okay, that is called as netiquette. Okay, so we have discussed this in the internet glossary part in our unit 8 in our regular class. Okay, if you have read our reading material, our PPT, PDF, and all, you might remember this. Okay, so network etiquettes, combination of two words make netiquettes. Okay, so there are a set of rules and guidelines for the proper and respectful behavior on internet for any kind of communication on internet. So the cyber bullying and all are against net etiquettes. Okay, so professional etiquettes we have. Similarly, we have network etiquettes. Okay, so these are a set of guidelines for the polite, considerate, and constructive communications and interactions over internet. Okay, so this is what we call by the term etiquette or the ethical protocols on internet or in a network system. Okay. So I hope you got that right. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question from Unit 8. Okay, I think no doubts are there here. All of you are answering it right. Okay, so next question. Here comes the next question. Simple question. I need every one of you to answer right at this moment itself because that even doesn't even need an explanation. You don't have to wait for the YouTube people to answer this. Every one of you can answer this. GIF, GIF, whatever you call this, whatever pronunciation you call it, GIF. You all use this GIF or GIF image, whatever, in your day-to-day social media interactions. So you should definitely know the full form of GIF. What is it? GIF stands for, is that global information format? Is that graphic information format? Is that graphics interchange format? Is that graphic interchange file? So which is the answer? Some kind of graphics that you know, right? Yeah, happy. So, so many of you know what graphics is. Okay, so which is the answer then? Okay, so many of you are saying option three, so, and some of you are saying option four. Yes, yeah, majority answer is now option four, and I think we'll check the answer first, and that's the right answer. Okay, graphic interchange format. What kind of format this is? GIF, is that a video or an image? GIF, is that a video or an image? What do you think when you send this GIF? Okay, so okay, you say okay, you feel it's video. Some of you feel that's a video file, but GIF actually is a bitmap image. It's a bitmap image format. It was developed by CompuServe, that's an organization. It was developed in 1987, actually. Okay, so it was from 1987 that this came. Okay, so it's a combination of some images combined together, and that's how it appears animated. Okay, so it's a bitmap image format. Okay? So it's an image format GIF. Okay. So that you remember. And I think in our ICT classes, I have added one question like this dot GIF, dot PNG, dot JPG are what kind of formats. And we have that options image file, text file, video data, audio data. So I already remember that question. Okay. So you're confused who used that in 1987. No matter who used it, okay. So even computers and internet has been devised in 1980s, but we have started using it in late 2000s. Okay, so all over the world inventions happen, and it will be popularized only after 1 or 2 decades. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, um, yes. Now, next question. I don't have any membership in any question paper committees. Come on, I didn't set any questions. Okay. Which one of the following is not an operating system? I think this question is all simple. So, which one of the following is not an operating system? Is that IBM AIX? Is that Linux? Is that Sun Solaris? Is that Firefox? Not an operating system. That is the question. Not. So, many times, many of you might be having this kind of a problem. You are in a hurry, you're worried that within 2 minutes you have to complete every question. Some questions may take more than 2 minutes, so you are running out of time. So you will be glancing through the question, kind of a skimmed reading. So you might be this not an operating system kind of thing. So you will land in wrong answers. So what is the answer then? Which one of the following is not an operating system? IBM AIX, Linux, Sun Solaris, Firefox. Yes, Jobin sir, and I used to set questions for your model test, not for NTA at least. Okay, so I'm getting acquisitions in YouTube, sorry, in Zoom chat box. Don't do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we are to check the answer. So some of you say option four, some say option three. Unfortunately, the answer is option four. Okay. So Mozilla Firefox is a web browser. Meanwhile, IBM is an operating system developed by IBM itself. For Unix-based systems, that's a set of systems they are already uh, okay. We have a set of computer systems called Unix architecture, for which there is an operating system called IBM. Even Linux is a widely used open source operating system. What is open source of operating system? Open source means yeah, open source. By the term says that it is free of cost. Okay, so if you need original Windows software, you have to pay like some of rupees 2000 extra when you go buy a laptop. If you need original Windows software, you have to pay extra. But for Linux, you don't have to pay extra amount of money. Okay, it comes in built. It's an open source software system. Okay, so Linux is also an operating system. IBM AIX is also an operating system. Okay, operating system is the low-level language written system that controls the entire computer. That's how that controls the entire computer. Without operating system, no other software works. Okay, so without operating system, the computer doesn't even turn on. Okay, so IBM Linux when Sun Solaris. Okay, this was developed by Sun Microsystems by Oracle Corporation. That is also used for Unix-based systems. Okay, a set of architecture that is architecture. Unix is a kind of architecture. Explaining it takes a little more time. That's why I'm not explaining Unix. But all these three are operating systems. But Firefox is a web browser by Mozilla Corporation. I think many of you are using Mozilla Firefox because some of the government websites are open only in Mozilla Firefox, not in Chrome or any other browsers. Okay, so Mozilla Firefox is a web browser, not an operating system. Okay, so I think you know the difference between operating system and web browser. Many of you are tech people, so that is the answer. So operating system, what is operating system and what is a browser? I think many of you know actually. Okay, so I'm just worried about some of the responses in YouTube live chat. Even after the answer is displayed on the screen, some of you are just responding some different answers. Please take a note of the PowerPoint that is visible on the screen. Okay, so we have the explanation as well there. Okay, yeah. Next, we have a match the following question, and I think, oh, you. Sorry. The animation thinking. Okay, just give me a moment. I will just return. Okay, don't worry. So, the animation pain just cheated me. Oh, God. Wait. Where is my animation pain? Yeah, I got this. So, I'm here back. Wait. I want you to wait a moment. Yeah. So I got something wrong here. Okay. So I think you didn't see the answer. Okay. So we have been talking about, yeah, now it's done. Okay. This is the question. Match the following question. Match the following question. So you have the computer related terms on left hand side. You have the description of those terms on the right hand side. You have to match them according to the correct option. So which is the correct answer? What is operating system? What is www? What are device drivers? What is IP? Hmm. What is operating system? Lot of things happen in operating system. Just now we have talked about operating system in the last question. Okay, so already know what operating system means. Then www, something that begins your links. Links means what? Web addresses, right? So which is the answer then? And option 4 says that A3 operating system is that software that controls peripheral devices and allocates memory. Then www network address. Sorry, it is a address. Okay. So before every web page address, you have that www or HTTPS, whatever that you see. Okay. So that defines web addresses. Device drivers are related to hardware. That's why whenever in the olden days, whenever you buy a new device like a webcam or any external device, you get a CD to along with that. You used to get a CD, which you have to insert the CD and install a driver software. Okay, that is what we call as device driver. But right now, everything is internet based. We can download the driver software directly over internet. That's why you don't get such devices these days. Whenever you buy any kind of hardware like an external mouse or a webcam or a mic or whatever. Okay, now you don't need it. Earlier, you need to have that driver software installed from a CD that you used to provide. But right now, you don't need it. Okay, so device drivers are software that helps the operating system to recognize the particular hardware. Okay, so that is it. And IP address. Okay, IP stands for Internet Protocol. So it's a set of protocols or a set of rules over internet. Okay, service that runs the internet is IP. Okay, I think the description itself explains the whole question. So you don't need a particular level of explanation, other level of explanation already. So that's it. I think we'll move on to next question here. Wait a second, wait a second. Some problem with the animation thing. Okay, so actually the explanation part that I have added the animation, that's why. Okay, for the ease of work, we do such kind of normal things. Don't worry, don't worry. Okay, I'll be here in a moment. Okay, so don't worry at all. So I have just added some small bits here for the ease of making the PowerPoint that has. Especially, I think in all the match the following questions, you will face this problem because I have duplicated some of the slides and added the content for the ease of work. Match the following is something that confuses you. Okay, so I think here is the next match the following question for you. Already we have discussed one of the match the following questions. Now here comes the next question. We have the internet related terms like the protocols. Internet protocols at the left hand side and the description of the internet protocols at the right hand side. And this question was discussed in our class because this was asked in the June 2024 examination, the cancelled examination recently. They have asked this question. Okay, so that's why I have included this again. It's not plagiarism. So answer this question. Try answering this question. Yes. HTTP, SSL, SMTP, FTP. What are these things? HTTP stands for what? What is the full form of SSL? What is the full form of SMTP? What is FTP? These were asked in the last examination conducted on June 2024. I think on 15th June 2024, an exam was conducted, which was eventually cancelled, and this question was there. So, HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So, Hypertext transfer protocol. What is the purpose? Then SSL stands for Secure Socket Layers. SSL stands for Secure Socket Layers. Then what is the full form of SMTP? Yes, SMTP stands for, yes, definitely in the live chat. Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. And finally, FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Very good, very good. So the answer here is file transfer protocol. Definitely, it's about sending files, transferring file over internet. So D4 should be an option. There is only one option that says D4, that is option 4. That is the answer. Very simple thing to note it. Okay, because if you know the full form of all these protocols, okay, full form of all these abbreviations. Okay, so you know FTP means file transfer protocols of transferring files over internet. That is a correct option, correctly matched option D4. There is only one option that says D4, that is option 4. So immediately you can land into the answer. Okay. So SSL is for data encryption, B2, which should happen. SMTP for sending mails through internet, C1. Simple mail transfer protocol, it says. Okay, and finally HTTP or hypertext transfer protocol is for sending packets over web server. Okay, so A3. I think all of you got that right. Now, coming on to the question from Unit 9, environment, because it's already high time. Okay, what's the time now? Right now. Okay, so it's 9:52 already, so we have to discuss two units. So, yeah, there's a question from Indian logic. This is okay. So, this is a question from Indian logic. Okay, so yeah, finally we have moved on to Indian logic. So in Indian logic, we have one question. Indian logic is a part of Unit 6 logical reasoning. Okay, it's a module in Unit 6 logical reasoning where we have to deal with three focus areas: Pramana, Anumana, and Hetu Abhasa. Okay, these are the three focus areas in Indian logic. So from that, you have the Pramanas particularly. Within Pramanas, we have the Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana, Upamana Pramana, Shabda, Arthavati, and Anuvalabdhi. So from that area, we have the Anumanas, otherwise called the inferential knowledge. Pramana stands for the means through which we attain knowledge. And Anumana Pramana says that the kind of inferential knowledge that we gain. Okay, so here are some examples of Anumana Pramana, and you have to locate. Yes, we have discussed this in the revision session. So those who have attended that revision session recently might remember this. So example of Animana Pramana. So for the YouTube babies as well, this question is very important because I think this was asked in one of the exams. Okay, so definitely we have to talk about this. So seeing the smoke and inferring there is fire. Seeing a red apple and inferring that it is sweet. Comparing a new car with an old car. Believing that earth is round because the teacher told you so. Which among these examples are actually the examples of Anumana Pramana? What is it? Some of you say on option 3, some say option 1. Okay, I will check the answer right now. Option 3 is the answer. Seeing a smoke and inferring that is fire. Okay, inference, inferential knowledge. Okay, so that is, yes, Anumana Pramana. Okay, seeing a red apple, inferring that it is sweet. It's like a assumption actually. Okay, assumption is Arthapati, right? Is that Arthapati? Assumption? It is our assumption, inferring that it is sweet, which cannot be sweet. Okay, an apple that is too red, and we are assuming two red apples can be sweet. It's just our assumption, it's not our inference. Comparing a new car to an old car is what? Upama, Upamana. Okay. Pratiksha Anumana, Upamana, Shap. Okay, then the final one is the teacher told you something and you are believing it. From a reliable person, you are hearing something and believing and taking it as a means of reliable knowledge. That is Shabda Pramana. Okay, so that is an example of Shabda Pramana. C option C is an it's an Upamana. Option B is what? Is an Arthavati. I'm asking you, you got a revision session as well, you got the material as well. Okay. So option B is Arthavati and option A is actually the Anumana. Okay. Yeah. So now another question from Hetu of no. This is also from this is from the second module, Anumana actually. We have talked up from the Pramanas first. Now this is a question from Anumana again. Okay, we have talked about all four Pramanas in the last question. This is Anumana. So, which of the following is termed as a statement of reason? Hetu, Pradigna, Upanaya, Nigamana. Yes, which is it? Yes, Hetu. Okay, it's based on Hetu that we construct the reason. It's based on the reason that we construct the final opinion. Okay, so the middle term or Hetu construct the Anuman or inferential knowledge. Okay, due to the reason that we finally construct Anumana. Okay, so it's a statement of reason, Hetu. Okay, Sathya, Paksha, Hetu. That three things are there. Okay, so Sathya, Paksha, Hetu is there. Then we have the Pradigna, Hetu, Upanaya, Nigamana. As you know, Parvado Vannimaniti Prajna Dhumavatvaditi Hetu that we have discussed in the class. So, yeah, that is the right answer. Okay, so option one is the right answer, or otherwise called as Hetu. Okay, so yeah. Now, next question. A reason that appears to be real or appropriate, but in fact it is not. With which of the following terms fallacy is known as Hetu Abhasa? So, this is from our third module called Hetu Abhasa. So we had the Pramana, Anumana, and Hetu. These are three modules in Indian logic. So which of the terms that we call Hetu Abhasa? Is that minor term, middle term, or major term? We have three terms actually called Sathya, Paksha, and Hetu. Just like we have the major, minor, and middle terms, whatever, in the Western logics. Okay, so among this, in Indian logics, what is a middle, what is the Hetu, what causes Hetu Abhasa? What causes Hetu Abhasa? Yes, of course, the inappropriateness of the middle term. Okay, when the middle term, the reasons for Hedu is violated, okay, or the reasons for the middle term is violated, there occurs Hetva Phasa. Okay, so when Hedu is not properly defined and violated, there occurs Hetva Phasa. And I think we have one more question from Hetva Phasa. Which of the following should be considered as two fundamental requirement for inference? Awareness of Paksha, Vyapti, or Hetuvapasa. Which of the following should be considered as two fundamental requirements for inference? I think in the revision class as well, we have discussed this question. So, for a proper inference, what all things that we need? For a proper inference, what all things that we need? Awareness of Paksha Dharmada, Vyapti, or Hetuvapasa. Yes, for a proper inference, can we rely on Hetuvapasa for a proper inference? Never. Hetwabhasa is the kind of fallacy that it creates that appears to be a real thing, but in the actual terms, the minor is not properly defined. Okay, so Hetwabhasa can be omitted. So the rest of the option is 1 and 2. Okay, and the option that says 1 and 2 is option A. Okay, that is the right answer. Okay. Hetvavasa is a fallacy and that doesn't explains a proper inference or a fundamental requirement of an inference. Okay. Now, a question from Unit 9, People, Development and Environment. That is a full name of the unit. Okay. So here it's a question from People, Development and Environment. Atmospheric haze is mainly caused by what? I think many of you can answer this. Atmospheric haze is caused by what? So whenever a new unit is introduced in this session, I start with a simple question. So this is a simple question for you. Atmospheric haze is caused by what? Is that ultra-fine size particulate matter? Is that oxides of nitrogen and sulfur? Is that ozone? Or is that carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide? Atmospheric haze is caused by? Hmm. Yes. So atmospheric haze is caused by ultra fine size particulate matter. Many of you have answered that right. So particulate matter means presence of large number of tiny particles, suspended particles in an air. Okay. And their diameter, this PM 2.5 we call it. Okay. Because they are so tiny particles that their diameter is around 2.5 micrometers only. Okay. So from industrial emissions, vehicle exhaust, dust storms and all these particles are spread over air. This can even absorb sunlight. So that's why we feel very less visibility when haze happens. Okay. So they create a hazy appearance. Okay. So that's how ultra fine size particles create atmospheric haze. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. This question was asked in December 2023 in one of the UGC NET exams in December, held on December 2023. The Convention on Biological Diversity. This was signed in 1992, 5th June 1992. Convention on Biological Diversity was signed. In which summit, which event, which climate event that this was committed? Okay, there were three major objectives of that climate agreement. Okay, so that was called the Convention on Biological Diversity. That convention, there were three objectives. One of the objectives is given in the options you have to identify. And I told you, yes, they are actually creating questions from Wikipedia as well. So Wikipedia clearly tells about this. That's how I noticed this question. Okay, because this was there in our reading material as well. Even 5 years before the reading material that we have created this question, and this point was there. And I think many of the students who have attended our classes for the last 5 years might have able to answer those questions during those exams. So the answer is Agenda 21. Okay, Agenda 21, that is one among the three objectives of CBD. CBD is another name for what? Not Paris. It is Rio Summit. I think is that Rio Summit 1992? What was it? Tell me what happened in 1992? When was Montreal Protocol? When was Rio Summit? When was Paris Agreement? When was Kyoto Protocol? Do you remember the dates? If not, wait. I have a question for you towards the end, asking all these dates. I need you there. Okay. Next, a question from I think March or June. This is June 2024, I think. Either June 24 or June 23. Somewhere this question was asked. Decreasing dissolved oxygen level in water body. Earlier, I used to mention the year which this question was asked, but right just now we need to add this badge over here. That's why I couldn't add this. Okay. Or else I would have mentioned in which exam this question was asked. This is also a previous year question. So we have four statements here. Decreasing dissolved oxygen level in water body severely threatens aquatic life, mainly caused by oxygen demanding waste. Indicates presence of biodegradable material, organic substances, cause undesired taste and color, makes it non-drinkable to human beings. So five statements are given. We have to select which of the statements are true. Yes, which is it? Many of you say option three, many of you say option four. Okay, first of all, let's check the answer. It's actually option one. So it severely threatens aquatic life. Okay, uh, decreased level of oxygen that has nothing to do with drinking things of humans, but it will affect aquatic life. uh, is mainly caused by BOD or biological oxygen demand. Okay, so oxygen demanding wastes are dumped in. That's how aquatic life is affected. The biodegradable organic substances, okay, in water is that cause this. Okay, then undesired taste and color and makes it non-drinkable to human beings. Okay, this is the answer that we have got. I think we need a small clarification on this. Anyway, this was asked in one of the question exams. Okay, so we can have this question again. Okay, now moving on to next question about International Solar Alliance. The initiative to establish International Solar Alliance was jointly taken by whom? The initiative to establish International Solar Alliance was jointly taken by two countries. Which are those countries? Yes. Simple question. Many of you know we have talked about International Solar Alliance in class itself. Which year? Where is the interim headquarters? Which of the countries have signed this pact? Everything that you know. So the answer, this was also asked in the June exam, the cancelled exam, and the answer is option two. Okay. Now moving on to the last question, I think another question from our daily class. That's why I told you I need you here. Do you remember the years? That's why I have included this question as well. Montreal Protocol. Which year Montreal Protocol? Which year Earth Summit? Or you have another name for Earth Summit. What is it? Kyoto Protocol. Was it in which year? Ramsar Convention was in which year? Montreal Protocol. I hope you remember. That was the beginning actually. Not beginning actually. It was Vienna Convention for the protection of ozone layer. Then UNFCCC. Then we have these protocols and summits. So which was it? What is what? In WB set as well, you had this question. Wow. Yeah, I told you this was a question. So Montreal Protocol in which year? Earth Summit. At least you know that. Another name for Rio Summit. Kyoto Protocol in a half-baked cake of 1997. Even after 15 years in 2012, nothing changed. And a Ramsar Convention for wetlands. Okay, that is in 75. So the answer is option one. Okay, A3, Montreal Protocol in 1987. B1, Earth Summit in 1992. Then Kyoto Protocol in 1997 and Ramsar Convention in 1975. Okay, that is the answer. Okay, so that's the time for interaction, and I think it's already 10 o'clock. Okay, we have passed 10 actually. So it's time for interaction. We have 10 minutes past actually. So you have any kind of doubts? It's time for interaction. If have any doubts, we can just discuss that immediately. So, any problems? Any problems with the questions or doubts? Okay, what Anushka? Last question. Show the last question with the answer. Montreal Protocol was submitted. All yes. Yeah. Thank you for your appreciations and all. Okay. Thank you for your feedback. Yeah. Yes, okay. So that's, I hope questions are answered. No more questions, I think. Only one of you have asked repetition. Yeah. So we have more sessions, I think, from. No, no, no. No, I think if insisted, we will have more sessions. Okay. I think all the topics that I used to cover is already taken here. I was asked to just to have a 1 hour session of all the topics that I used to cover. That's how I just touched the surface of all these things already. Okay. So thank you for being here. And I think, yeah, I know I have taken much of your time. So that will mark the end of my session here. So see you all in the coming YouTube sessions as well, if possible, if then things are assigned to me. Or else for my Zoom students, you will see for our revision on ICT and environment the coming days as well. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Have your dinner. Good night, everyone. Okay.